Hello everyone, how's it going tonight? Just getting into game 1, the spec link is getting sent out right now. We'll get right into it. I am not your normal caster here today with Fig. I am a sub-in for the time being. I'm Azir off the Plat Legends team. So I'll be subbing in as your shoutcaster tonight. Thanks for having me, I guess.
And starting off, I do believe since we have an E-sub for our jungler, we will be losing a bit. Maybe? Maybe not. Who knows?
Here quickly, they jumped right into it on us after posting the link, so we're a little behind. But ban 1 coming out of ZMG Luna was not turned into Yumi, and then on red side would be Diana.
I said they didn't ban the Graves or what other things have the Graves or the I guess Diana has 60 games with a 55% win rate. That makes sense.
Jace from DOG. And yes, the question is coming into play right now in chat, in the game chat about the 2 ban loss on ZMG Luna. So hopefully that will get settled out in a moment here. Oh, looks like we're going into a redraft right now. There was a little bit of a miscommunication on Luna's side, but we'll be getting that fixed shortly here.
I guess that means we'll...
All right, Fig, you have a little more knowledge on the teams getting played tonight. I have yet to see Luna in their prime throughout their full games. So going into this, what do you kind of expect coming out of Luna tonight?
It's gonna most likely be a bruiser top lane. I'm not entirely sure what jungle we'll be playing, especially since it's not our typical roster. However, it should be a mage mid and then probably a late scaling like hyper carry ADC and like accompanying support.
And just fix this up right now. Alright, it does look like they got the ban list set up properly this time, so we're going to be dropping the first and second bans off Luna, and DOG going again with the Anivia ban. They're really looking to get that away from Molly, huh?
Yeah, I mean it's one of Molly's I feel like better control mages.
Okay.
Typically we've seen him on Cassiopeia, Anivia, and Galio are probably his top 3 that we've seen.
Okay. it's definitely an interesting spread. The Cass, the Anivia, and the Galio all play radically differently. So I'm interested in seeing what they kind of lean in going with like coming forward if they're pulling out the I guess his best zone mage.
And it looks like the main ban that ZMG will have for the first round is the Yumi.
It does look like that, yes. DOG Rho going with the same bans, the Diana and the Seraphine, as they had set up last time before they had to remake. But going into first pick on Luna's side right now, I'm curious to see what they're going to go with. What they prio here after the 2 ban loss and being in the position they are.
Oh, their jungler, I believe this will go through their jungler, gets his Talia.
This is a new jungle for ZMG Luna here, and the reason that they're losing the 2 bans is because they subbed in the new player Donut PvPs that's on the roster right now, and Talia was on his op.gg as a decent pick here for him. He seems very comfortable, and it would most likely be that they're taking this jungle. I don't see Molly with his champion background right now going with Talia mid.
Currently, I think it's mainly flex, but he has out of like the most recent 20 games kind of stats, he has 6 wins and 0 losses on Talia with a 17 KDA. So I feel like that's a pretty high damage pick for him.
Mm-hmm. I'm interested to see why they prioed the Seraphine. I know she's decent right now, but with stats like those, I'm concerned as to why they didn't ban out the jungler at all in this situation, especially as a newcomer coming in. Maybe they just don't have the knowledge that is an issue to deal with. Maybe they're gonna
Yes,
test it
because
out
I
in
do
game 1.
believe Donut got added on today, which is why
Okay,
we lost the 2 bans.
understood. Yeah, that's a very last second, very very last second for us here. Going with the Amumu, okay,
Most likely support a Mumu.
and
Yeah,
then the
Mumu
Sivir.
Silver. I've been seeing that combo a lot recently, but
You haven't or have?
I have.
You have. It's been coming up a lot. Even in the Plat League, we have been seeing a Mumu pop up in some of the games recently. It's not like a mainstay, but even we've been like dabbling with it, so it could be a potentially really strong pick. But going with the Sivir after her buffs, she has gotten a lot stronger, so that is a solid pick for ZMG here.
Left on TMG is most likely popping into the 2 solo lanes.
All right, we see
So
the Morgana lock in for DOG Rho, and that seems like it's probably going to be a good counter to the Amumu to a certain extent, but it doesn't seem like that lane's going to be able to get a lot done into the Sivir with her spell shield. I don't think Morgana's going to have an easy time landing those bindings unless they're directly focusing the Amumu in their combat going in bot lane.
I find it a little bit interesting that they did ban the Malphite against Swole. I would expect something more like the Aatrox or Mordekaiser.
Okay, we see the Galio ban coming out of DOG. On top of that, they're really trying to punish Molly right now. And that is a bit interesting. Is that one of Swole's better picks, the Aatrox?
Yes, Aatrox. I think his like kind of what he's known for is his Aatrox, Darius, and Mordekaiser.
So it looks like they've left all of those open up for him, unless they try to
Pretty
do
much.
a little bit of a counter pick here. It seems like he's gonna get one of those champions for sure.
And then, oh, wait, they didn't ban the Mordekaiser when they're gonna pick Horn? That's interesting.
Very strange, coming out of DOG, knowing that it's one of his champions that he is going to potentially whip out in the game. To not do that is a little strange. But we do see the Lilia ban come out for ZMG Luna, and that is a bit strange. Is it their top laner who plays Lilia, or is that just kind of a in the dark ban? It is. The jungler for DOG Rho is the one who plays Lilia on the enemy team, so I'm surprised that they're bringing out this this ban for game one, knowing that the Hecarim is already locked in.
And it will be a Mordekaiser and Vex pick for their solo lanes for Luna.
Interesting pick considering how AP heavy Luna is already. That is looking a little leaned towards the too much AP side of the team comp right now. Horn could have a very, very big field day if he builds Force of Nature and kind of just walks into the middle of the enemy team. Morgana naturally has a magic shield on her spell shield, so it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But going into that second wave, I do really think that the Lilia ban was a missed opportunity for ZMG here, considering that they could have taken another champion away from them essentially, that they could have potentially leveraged going into game one here.
And with that, I think we will probably go into our delay while we wait for the teams to get onto the rift.
Sounds good. We will see you guys in just a second. Alrighty, we're back. Going into game 1 right now. It looks like everything will be nice and dandy. The
Looks like we're doing a standard 5-point across the board. Kind of.
Zoom out of here a little bit.
Well, for the most part. Swole is not exactly in the typical top spot, but you know. Looks like there will not be any invading.
No, everything seems pretty stock standard at the moment. No one's looking to give up any gold, any mana flow band stacks. Everyone's playing it real passive and safe going into lane here. So nothing crazy out of the ordinary, especially considering both of these teams look like they want to scale somewhat into mid and late game without making too much of an error. I wouldn't expect any sort of invade coming out of either one of these teams in a situation like this.
I will say though, it will be interesting. Luna has no TP again, They have not four. They have 3 ignites. Oh, I lied. There is some cheese in that bottom push, as they were able to get the Morgana flash.
It does look
and
like
she would have
that
to recall.
Alolan Zora and Sadist did manage to get the flash out of Morgana there, burning the ignite to promote that. So there's a slight advantage going into bot lane right now. Donut looking like he's clearing fine on the Talia, and mid lane is stock and standard.
I think it's important to note that Jin did go boots on 4 pots, so he doesn't really. I don't think that gives him a lot of combat power in the beginning. A little mobi though, a little bit of mobility.
Morgana coming to lane super late here, off that really bad reset for her, that forced reset I should say. Gonna be, looks like a level down coming into the second wave.
It is important to note also that for Dorado, both their bot laners did go. Oh wait, no, it's the exhaust and ignite. Okay, never mind. I was like, wait a minute, they didn't go both.
Mid lane looks like Molly got some decent trades off level 1, and that Cooper is taking a lot of minion aggro here off that small little trade to Molly. With your health that low, I don't know if you want to be going for trades like that. Especially considering this was your power spike, I think he needed a little more off that level 2 to 3 push there. But Molly playing super far back there, as it seems like both junglers are absolutely taking their time and just getting nice and clear. Both ending up on bot side roughly at the same time, but we do see Hecarim double clearing his camps, so he should be able to influence a little earlier than the Talia in this case. A fight going off top lane here, Solus and Swole having a little back and forth, but Swole looking like he's getting that wave in just fine with the Hecarim being bot side here.
What time are you at currently? I think I'm slightly ahead of you.
I am 3:32 at the moment.
Okay. I did a slight pause because I was like, I think I'm slightly ahead.
Okay. Vaunted getting that Scuttle Crab priority even as bot lane. Sadis and Alolan come up to try to contest that a little bit, but as I said, the double clear on the Hecarim there puts him on the map just a little bit before the Talia for the influence there.
It looks like they will go for a invade, either to get vision or to wrap around bot lane.
Cheeky, going for this early roam off Cooper and Vaunted, tagging up with the jungle pressure here, and they have caught bot lane, ZMG's bot lane completely by surprise here, as they 4-man the 3-man stack we had set up. Playing completely into the vision there. They do spot ZMG on their wards and set up a very good roam timer coming into bot lane and forcing a really bad situation for ZMG Luna here. Donut does end up going down there, and so does Alolan Zora. So a nice little first blood for DOG here, as Sivir survives and tries to keep the wave in a decent place. Swole struggling a little bit to get this next wave in. I don't know if it's worth the commitment here, but he does force the flash off Solus coming out of that little fight there. That big shield coming out of Swole there, turning that skirmish into a one trade for him. Solus doesn't see the Talia coming up here, and it does look like they might be able to pick this up. No, Solus getting out just by the skin of his teeth. Shame in that situation. Hecarim's top. I don't think they should be staying here, but we might see a little bit of an overstay top lane. No, it looks like they take the backs, and everyone's taking their resets now. Solus getting out just barely there. The Mordekaiser pull just barely missing him, a couple pixels shy. nice even back and forth here. ZMG Luna doesn't look like they've fallen too far behind. They're slightly ahead in CS here as they push the wave into DOG.
It is important to note, I think, that with that roam bot lane, the Cassiopeia is currently ahead of the Vex with the...
by quite a large margin. Yes, you are very correct. Very correct with that. Picking up the 700 gold off both of those kills, the first blood and the solo kill there, or the secondary kill there, puts Cassiopeia incredibly far ahead of Vex at this current moment. And it allows the enemy jungle to just walk in freely into Luna's side here, as the Cassiopeia backup is a lot more than the Vex can handle. Swole we see ulting top lane. The Ornn ult did come out, was not able to slow down the Mordekaiser, as we do see a solo kill top lane for ZMG. But mirrored on the bottom side of the map, it looks like Vaunted and Cooper are going for the dragon here, as they should be with the pressure state they have on the map. ZMD just try to walk up a little bit, but they do not have the pressure they need in the 4v3 situation to walk in safely to contest that dragon. We see resets coming out of the Cassiopeia and the Hecarim, and I'm curious to see, yep, Cassiopeia coming back with a Fiendish Codex, putting the gap between Vex and Cassiopeia at a much higher margin now. It does seem like the top lane is operating pretty well on his own here for ZMG, and it's kind of like the only foot in the door at the moment that ZMG has versus DOG currently. Currently,
the only lane on ZMG that is ahead in gold is the top lane, and that's only for about like 100 gold or so. However, it's kind of to be slightly expected considering ZMG has had 2 roster changes this week. So, I think this is also their first game together. Which means there might be a few hiccups in the early game, but I do believe that they should be able to come back.
DOG bot lane getting a little bit of poke onto ZMG Luna here. The Amumu taking a little bit of damage as Taliyah looks for a cheeky invade on the enemy blue buff. But how much is that really worth though, as DOG Vaunted is trading for the Herald on top side. We see another ulti out of the Mordekaiser top lane as he fights the Ornn under tower. I don't think the ulti is enough to really pin him down, as Ornn is able to get back up to his tower and to safety away from the Mordekaiser ult.
I will say though, it does seem like the Hecarim is putting a lot more pressure on objectives in lane than the Taliyah. I do believe Taliyah jungle is more or less the scaling jungler.
Yeah, I do believe you're correct in that. The Hecarim does have a lot more impact in this early game. It seems that Donut has gone over the wall on the Blast Cone, and no, it doesn't seem like Vaunted saw or cared enough to engage on the very out of position Taliyah in that situation. Very lucky for ZMG Luna. Could have been a very costly mistake in that situation. But crisis averted. But we see Taliyah coming back into lane, a little worse for wear in the gold department, as we do see that gold lead start to slightly get a little larger for DOG, as those 2 objectives that they have picked up have given their teams a little bit of map-wide gold. Molly able to get a decent amount of damage onto the Cassiopeia here. Despite being so behind, it does seem like the trading is going fairly well, considering how much gold is behind. I'm missing a fight going on bot lane. Of course, as we see ZMG trade 2-for-1 in the bot lane as Hecarim comes to clean up the Sivir and the Amumu after the 2v2 resulting in Jin's death there.
It was also unfortunate that when Amumu went into ult, he ulted a stopwatch Morgana, so like he really only hit Jin.
Exactly, yes.
And then, you know, Hecarim was there to like clean up. I still have not seen a single like successful gank on Talia's part.
No, we haven't seen Talia really impacting the map at all in this situation here. Actively playing the opposite side of the map and kind of going in and picking up Hecarim's camps here and there as Hecarim continues to put on this pressure across the map. And despite the intent to counter invade, to invade here and get some pressure on while Hecarim is making this impact on the map, Talia has not really been able to put their foot down in getting a CS lead despite having much more time to be clearing camps here. See Hecarim come mid lane, helping Cassiopeia push this wave in. They might be looking to set up for Dragon here, as Talia is topside again, clearing camps. Hecarim still hovering mid, as Talia is finishing up Wolves. We see bot lane that ZMG is shoving in, so they do have the priority here if they want to move. And our stock standard noodle fight top lane going on as Hecarim is setting up for Dragon. Hecarim coming in for the gank on Vex. Molly with the fast reaction time gets the flash off to dodge the Hecarim ulti there. And we do see it. Talia with the counter gank here coming out of vision. They had no idea that Donut was walking up through there, and they do manage to get a very nice pick onto the Cassiopeia right before Drake. And we do see that the Mordekaiser gets another 1v1 top lane into the Ornn, resulting in the Ornn going down again.
You know, we've been kind of low-key flaming this Talia jungle. However, right there, that was a good game. They got the pick, and we're able to translate it into a dragon.
Yes, and it's the first time we've really seen the that scaling go into effect here. We do see ZMG Luna pick up the Hex Drake here, netting them the second Drake of the game, but their first Drake, of course. Alternatively, though, Hecarim opts to the DOG Hecarim opts to drop the Herald bot lane as a trade for a little bit of gold for the lost objective on that dragon. So although we did see a little bit of a creep come up in gold for Luna here, there is still a slight deficit on their end, as the Hecarim was able to drop that Herald down before the plates fell.
I think it's also important to note that both Talia and Vex look like they're both going to be going the Luden's Echo, or Luden's Tempest, I guess is what it's called nowadays, versus Leandri's.
We do see that coming out of both of them, you're right. Vex has bought a Blasting Wand coming out of base here, and I don't know if that's going to be enough damage, max health damage, to be able to burn through that like the tankiness of Hecarim and Ornn late game when they're going to need a little bit of burst. They're really relying on the Vex and Talia to get into the backline and the squishies, but I don't know if they're going to be able to do that with the Hecarim disruption coming into these fights.
I would have liked at least one of them to have gone Leandri's, especially since now that Leandri stacks. So
definitely, it is a much more viable option, and considering a lot of mages this season, or this patch, these last few patches have been really benefiting from Leandri's damage, and that it's the better path for both of them. It's a bit of a mystery as to why they're not taking. We do see a really good 2v1 coming up top lane as Swole does manage to just barely take down the Hecarim in the 2v1, isolating him with the ulti. But Ornn is able to flash in and continue the fight with a follow-up ult that does result in Swole going down for the first time this game. We see a fight mid lane as Molly just barely picks up the kill onto the Cassiopeia with some good kiting getting out of that ground off the Cassiopeia and managing to recast their ulti to secure that kill just by the skin of their teeth.
And dodge the Cassio ult. Well,
That
not
is
really
true.
dodge, but like was turned away, I guess.
Avoid the rough after effect of staring down Cassiopeia. We see top lane that Ornn has been able to put a huge chunk of damage onto that turret after the Mordekaiser from ZMG did go down, netting him a decent footing considering that Mordekaiser hasn't managed to touch the enemy top tower pretty much at all this game. Swole opting to go in over to the Hecarim here. I don't know if he knew he was there. Letting the tower fall, which is very strange. But Donut is here right behind the, on the bottom side of the Ornn here to kind of secure the kill, make sure that he's not going anywhere. And they do manage to pick up the Ornn from that overstay. However, DOG Rho did manage to pick up that first tower gold, so it might be, in this case, kind of worth it. Taliyah coming in with the attempted counter gank mid and does manage to secure that flash forward and that pushback on the Taliyah, even after the ulti was a little off skew there, resulting in both of them being on the opposite side of the wall, where I don't believe the intention was for that.
And then I do believe, though, they will pick up the mid turret. So although they did lose the first turret, it seems that they at least got a return turret.
Decent trade back, and we do see that bot lane. Oh, ZMG Luna does not commit to the bot lane turret, even though they probably could have with a couple autos, a little more coordination there, but they should get that on the next wave, assuming that Hecarim doesn't come down and stop them. Which is a tough call because he's going top for the Herald right now, trying to deny.
Right.
He does manage to walk in and get the steal.
And Ornn dashes in to pick up the Herald.
Secure the Herald buff, yes. We see
pay for it with his life.
It does seem that ZMG Luna is going to pick up a ton of gold off of the opposing team here in response to them losing that Herald. It's a shame they dropped it considering the pressure they had on it there, but they do pick up a lot of gold in return for it, and we are going to see some pressure on this mid tower as they transition to the Dragon bot lane for ZMG, also picking up that first tower for the DOG bot.
I am very surprised they let the Mordekaiser go through, especially since they were planning on picking Ornn, which I feel like is a soft counter.
I agree. I think it was a little bit of an oversight. The Malphite was a bit of a mispick, but we did see a similar situation with the Taliyah, with the Lilia ban on ZMG side in the second wave. So, but it does seem like this misstep on the potential Mordekaiser ban is coming to bite DOG a little bit more than for the misban on the Lilia for ZMG.
I will say though, the Taliyah combos seem to be pretty on point once they got out of just the AFK farm phase.
Yep, it does seem like Donut. It does seem very comfortable on the pick here, and has played it before. It's good to see that coming out, that he knows where he needs to be and not to really focus too much on the map early, because it does seem like it's very much paying off for them coming into this mid game.
Did
Split.
Sivir manage to steal that with the no?
Sivir just barely misses it as Sadis does go for the steal there. Molly zoning off. We see the Cassiopeia and the Ornn kind of transitioning more towards the bottom side of the map. Not really sure Ornn needs to be mid right now. We do see that the Cassiopeia is somewhat floating, and it's never good when you have one of your main damage dealers not farming lane. You don't want to be splitting gold and XP like this, especially on something that's so very needed for like a Cassiopeia to get that golden experience. A flash forward from Lilenzora and a very easy pick onto the Cassiopeia there as Vex continues to follow up on the engage. It looks like they're also going to pick up Ornn here, and although they dropped that mid turret, I think again they're in a better position on the end of this fight here. Vex coming in to clean up that Herald. Shame it didn't go down, otherwise they could have pushed that mid turret, but it looks like ZMG is going to transition into the Baron here. Hecarim is up, so this does turn into a 50-50 regardless of whether or not they're all there. He does have the tools to get over that wall on his own, but he doesn't have the vision of the Baron's health bar. And running a sweeper, he's not going to have it. He's going to have to completely blind engage here if he wants any chance of stealing this Baron. Oh, please, no. And with that blind engage, Hecarim does manage to pick up the Baron there. I have no idea.
They just left it.
I have no idea why they walked away. I have absolutely no idea why three off ZMG decided to walk away from the Baron at 2,000 health.
Because they were neither zoning nor taking the Baron. It was kind of weird.
Exactly. We see Swole 3v1ing bot lane as he does ult the Morgana in an attempt to get a solo kill here, but Morgana has finished their Zhonya's and will be able to survive the onslaught of Mordekaiser and his ulti there because of it.
With the Baron, it looked like Vex was trying to go around to try to zone off the Hecarim, but then walks away from the Baron where only Talia's left.
Which just is not enough damage to burn it down to the appropriate point where Talia can expect to smite there, or even compete for it. I believe Talia was out of pit as well, wasn't she?
I'm not entirely sure.
We see Talia wall coming down, completely cutting off the Cassiopeia. The ulti comes out, but a return from the Amumu ensures that the Cassiopeia does go down pretty seamlessly without a lot of struggle on ZMG's part. Morgana coming into ZMG's bottom side to throw a quick ward down. Keep the pressure on the Baron minions going forward a little bit. As Hecarim kind of hovers topside, looking for a couple camps to steal as they have a little more pressure at the moment with that Baron buff.
I feel like there was just conflicting calls. They either need to fully commit or zone.
I agree, and that leaves ZMG in a rough position of defending here. With all the momentum they had, this kind of puts a really big damper on it. For a 5-minute siesta on ZMG's side as they have to wait for this Baron buff to drop down before they can really start pressuring the map again.
Oh, apparently they walked out because Talia didn't have smite.
Oh, man.
That's even kind of worse, to be honest.
I agree. It does look like ZMG is converging in the middle of the map here, running as a 4-ball, which is nice and what you should be expecting out of something that's very as picky as this, with the Amumu and the Talia and the Vex all able to do their part here. Ornn does take a back, allowing Mordekaiser to push out top lane, and we do see Cassiopeia hovering the bottom bush as ZMG is pushing into the enemy jungle, kind of in a pincer here as Ornn is underneath them, and they could be in a really bad spot. We see the engage come out, but the rest of DOG is just a little behind, allowing them to kind of allowing ZMG to just walk out of the bottom of the map. And despite having this really great 5v4 opportunity, they do somehow manage to come out behind, as all 5 of ZMG's members still stay up at the end of the fight. We see the Jhin ulti come out for what I feel like is the first time I've seen it all game. But putting ZMG in a very rough position as the Hecarim does come in, and they do manage to clean him up before he can do a ton of damage. Which really even out the fight here. ZMG still with five members up as they walk in blind again, and allow ZMG to clean up the rest of the team fight in a very long-lasting back and forth engage style fight here, as ZMG is able to pick up the 3rd dragon for them this game.
It almost like Dorado was just not on the same page with that fight.
No, the situation was there, and it looks like the call was made, but it did not look like the execution came out. There was either a set of miscommunication or something just didn't fall into place. I think the 3 coming from mid were just a little behind in their timings. If they were there a little earlier, I think they cleaned up the 4 of them before Amumu and Vex and Talia were really able to get their damage off, especially considering that the Ornn had ulti up and the Cassiopeia had ulti up as well. That could have been a really devastating situation for ZMG there.
It's also where ZMG wants to do like the skirmish, like pick, and I feel like they've been playing very well with their with vision and getting those picks, like watching the Jen just like kind of walk finally into a bush and dying.
It is a bit of a feels bad situation for that. It does hurt her watching it happen, but you know that DOG does have a lot of pressure on their shoulders right now to make something happen considering the game state. ZMG, although did lose the Baron, still have that complete lead on dragons and that complete tower advantage at the moment with the pressure. Well, it's even on towers, but I have a very strong feeling that they'll be pushing down top lane with this wave quite shortly. And that's something we didn't go over, which was what these teams are, like the intentions of these teams are, like what their MO is for when the team fight breaks out. And we were struggling a little bit going back and forth during the intermission as to what we thought was kind of strange about ZMG's roster currently is that the main damage dealers outside of Mordekaiser being the Talia and the Sivir both kind of want this skirmish engage where they want to go back and forth, which is kind of what we saw during that last dragon fight, which is this skirmish kind of play. But the main in the other half of the team is very much engage heavy. Mordekaiser's obviously going to pull someone out of the fight, but then that leaves the rest of the team kind of in two different worlds as to what the intentions are for them. Like Amumu wants to go in, Vex wants to dive bomb, and so that leaves you in a situation where your damage and your engage are kind of doing different things.
And it looks like Mordekaiser is somewhat half walking over. It's important to note that Cassio has teleport while Mordekaiser would have to walk.
Exactly, yeah, and I think that is why Swole is kind of hovering towards that middle side. He wants to stay towards the team in case he's needed. But it does look like ZMG is trying to pressure for this Baron again. DOG Pro needs to be putting a little more pressure on their rotations and trying to get picks here because their comp is much more all in than the team for ZMG Luna, and I think they definitely need to be forcing this 4v5 advantage and then executing it because that's, I think, the only way they win these team fights. The ability
it looks like
for...
they will be putting Mordekaiser top side though.
Which is a little strange considering he needs to be matching someone, I guess, in the side lane, but having him towards that Baron and really forcing that 5-ball and the opportunity for them to just commit to that objective isn't necessarily that bad when we aren't going to see our dragon for a little bit here.
Even though both sides seem to be setting up for dragon?
We do see a lot of pings coming out of DOG right here. They know where they are. They're crossing vision. They saw them clearing, and so they're being very cautious. Mordekaiser clearing a ward inside Baron Pit as ZMG is just dominating in vision right now. Their vision control is just so much stronger at the moment than DOG Rho. They have complete control. Vex just missing the snipe on the Jhin there with the ulti. Could have been a very devastating time for them going into that. Amumu's second bandage toss is coming up. He should have it. A cheeky ward to kind of feel out where the enemy is right now, but we do see a TP coming out of Ornn. They're looking to fight here. Ornn is in a really interesting spot on the side here away from his team and is forced to back out, but that does give DOG Rho the opportunity to walk up and kind of control this dragon pit.
It looks like Dorado will start up the dragon here.
They're looking to force a fight as Mordekaiser is on the bottom side of their team. He's coming up completely behind them before the Cassiopeia. The Cassiopeia does flash forward to get the stun off, and Hecarim is following up. But Mordekaiser does get the ulti down on top of the Cassiopeia, pulling her out of the fight and really just cutting down on the amount of damage that DOG can do. Leaving Hecarim all alone to try to last hit the dragon, and DOG's in a running situation where their damage and their front line is just completely separate as Talia and Mordekaiser run back to clear up the Morgana as Jhin just narrowly escapes with his life. Another really tough fight for DOG in that situation.
It almost feels like they had the setup though. Like if they had executed it correctly.
I don't know if you saw, but the Cassiopeia Cooper of DOG did walk down towards bot lane, I think in an attempt to push the wave out, but that gave Mordekaiser the opportunity to walk up through the unwarded try and just completely loop in behind the backside of DOG, just completely splitting them in half, and leaving the Hecarim and the Ornn in a really bad pincer position, resulting in the team getting split and the damage not being able to step up to where they needed to be. Which
And
again
with that,
is
they will be picking up the Baron.
nice and easy for ZMG after that dragon play, resulting in both of those objectives going to them.
Also, you don't have your scoreboard up, do you? On the stream, I don't see the scoreboard.
Oh, it's up.
Oh.
That's interesting. It says it's streaming. Oh, the scoreboard
No.
in the bottom right.
Yeah. I think your UI is different from Chris's.
I agree. I think it is. Again, apologies if there's any incongruencies. This was a last-minute sub-in kind of position for me, as our main caster did have to take care of a few things today. A bit of a slapdash situation to get everything set up, but.
And with that, I feel like Luna should be able to end fairly soon.
It does seem like they have all the tools in their toolbox right here to make this happen. As they're walking with the Baron, they have top, mid, and bot pushing up. As long as they don't overcommit to any portion here, and they continue to back and forth skirmish, I think each unit here, the Vex, the three-man mid, and the Mordekaiser bot, all have the ability to really operate as a cell alone. We see Hecarim getting absolutely shredded going through Talia stones as the Ornn engages on the Sivir and the Amumu. But they are not able to pick up anything as the Talia is able to solo the Hecarim on their own. Hecarim dashing through those stones there, just shredding his health bar.
And it looks like they are doing a 1-3-1 split.
And it seems to be working very well, especially as the Hecarim was unable to assassinate the Talia, really put any pressure there. And dropping into a 4v5 situation when they're putting this much pressure is just a very, very tough situation. Mordekaiser really getting that 1v1 in action as isolates the Cassiopeia and takes him down quite easily. This is the writing on the walls, and I think this is it for DOG for Game 1, as ZMG does close in, playing a really good game, closing out the game with all three inhibs and every tower on the map as they finish the Nexus.
And it'll be a 34-minute win for ZMG Luna. A little bit better than the 60-minute game from last week.
A definite improvement from time. Alright, we are going to close out and wait for Game 2 to start up. And we will be right back.